Blog Talk Radio.
And today's guest is Nick Neonakis, who's the Vice President of SGO Designer Glass. And SGO is an international franchise company based in Orange, California. And they're a world leader in decorative glass design and installation. And their decorative glass works for any room in your home, office, place of worship, schools, and many different commercial and institutional locations. Good morning, Nick. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Marty and Don. How are you?
Thanks, Nick. Good today. I know it's a little early there.
Oh, it's not too bad. Only about 7:30 out here in beautiful, sunny California.
There you go. Rub it in, Nick.
Oh, come on. It's the right time of year on the East Coast.
Don, I know you wanted to say hi to Nick.
Yeah, hey, Nick. Appreciate you coming on the show. And as I told you, Marty, Nick and I have known each other for a few years now.
Right.
As always, Nick, appreciate the business. It's been nice working with you. And I've always been impressed with your franchise. So niche and so unique. I know people listening going to look forward to hearing all about SGO.
Yeah, it's really an amazing concept, and it's everywhere around us. I always tell people you've probably walked past or under one of the projects that our franchisees have done, but you never knew about it.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, it is interesting. I was even talking to Don this morning, Nick. As I was looking out, my window where I live. Easton, Pennsylvania is in the horizon, and there's like about 20 churches in Easton, and I said, God, all those churches have stained glass, so you're right, it's like, it's all around us.
That's right.
It's incredible. Nick, can you tell the listeners what you were doing before joining SGO Designer Glass?
Sure. Well, maybe to tell you a little bit also about the company,
Sure.
We're a full-service custom decorative glass business.
Okay.
So we provide different types of decorative glass for a wide range of clients. Now, my background is I was brought into SGO a couple of years back when we were owned by a publicly traded company called First Service. Mm-hmm. And you're probably familiar with First Service, right. Marty and Don. We owned about 20 different concepts there, like California Closets,
right.
Pro Painters, College Pro Painters, Neutralon, Action Window Cleaners, a whole bunch of different home services-oriented franchises. And so we bought SGO back in '99, put in a new management team, and then they brought me in to write and implement the marketing plan for SGO.
Right.
Because as we were changing the sort of the direction of the company, we needed a couple of new bodies on board. So I came in. Prior to franchising, my background was primarily in finance and marketing, and I grew up on the East Coast and worked out there at Morgan Stanley and at Charles Schwab at the World Trade Center before moving out west after getting my MBA.
I think that's why you and I have gotten along, Nick, East Coast, and used to be in finance.
Right,
Me.
Yeah. And grew up in Jersey.
Yeah, I said to you yesterday, Nick, I said I detect slight Jersey accents. Can you describe the history of the organization, Nick? I know you guys have a nice and long history as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, SGO was founded back in the 70s by a couple named Don and Dee Butler. And they came up with the concept of taking Mylar films, coloring and texturizing them to make it look like the type of glass used in traditional stained glass. And then these pieces of Mylar that have an adhesive back would be cut and literally peeled and stuck onto a piece of glass to make it look like traditional stained glass.
Right.
They had a very successful franchise. They started franchising in 1981 and started expanding all over the country and really all over the world. We do business in 37 countries. And then in the mid-'80s, a gentleman named Pete Shea, who some of you might be familiar with, he's the owner of Entrepreneur Media, publisher of Entrepreneur Magazine,
right.
Bought SGO from the Butlers and continued to run it. And then in 1999, First Service Corporation came and purchased it. Now, about 2 years ago, Mike Cassidy, who's the CEO of the company, took SGO private and asked me to stick around and do a couple of other things at the company as well. So that's sort of in a nutshell the history of SGO.
That's fantastic. And you said 37 countries, Nick. I mean, some of those countries, I was looking at the list. I mean, it's incredible. Madagascar and it's really all over the place. Romania, Portugal. It's incredible.
Yeah, well, glass is everywhere. I mean,
it's universal, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's universal. I mean, it really is. It's all over the world if you think about it.
It is. I mean, every single structure that we inhabit has glass in it.
Right.
And, you know, our mission is to make some of that glass more beautiful. And so what our franchisees do is work with all the different people that are associated with buildings. These are architects, builders, interior designers, kitchen and bath businesses, window and door dealers like Pella, Marvin, Milgard, and then businesses that sell flat glass, you know, the kind of glass if a kid threw a rock through your window.
Right.
Where would you go to get it fixed? So our franchisees go out and work with these people, and these businesses are everywhere. I mean, every single country in the world has these professions. And we set up a studio in our territories, in the franchise territories, that looks kind of like an art gallery of decorative glass. So it's very different from what people traditionally think a glass business will look like. You know?
Right, right.
When you go into an SGO business, it feels like you're in an art gallery. And there are many different types of glass and different types of situations, from countertops and windows and stair treads and floors and side lights and cabinet doors and transoms. Anywhere that you can think of glass work going, we have different types of glass. Now, the range of products that we offer is huge. You know, starting in the 70s from the overlay product that we invented, since then we've diversified the company into areas like traditional stained glass, etched glass, carved glass, fused, slumped, beveled, types of textures and laminates, all kinds of different types of glass. And so you're absolutely right. It is something that has universal appeal. And the countries that we operate in are staggering. You know, one of the areas that we really have planned for expansion is South America. And so one of the things I've been working on is our South American expansion in conjunction with some of our Central American franchisees. We have franchises in Guatemala, Honduras, Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, Mexico, and so on. And in South America, you were talking earlier about some of your donut concepts that are expanding internationally.
Right.
Here's an interesting fact. There are over 60 cities in South America that have over 1 million population.
Wow, that's incredible.
Okay. Just the county of Sao Paulo in Brazil has over 40 million inhabitants.
That's amazing.
You know, and so when you look at the opportunities, not only in the United States, but also globally, it really is extraordinary.
I think, Nick, the franchisee, you know, right off the bat, with all those different types of professionals that they can align themselves with to start getting business. I mean, that's an interesting point, just, you know, right there.
Yeah, and you know, for us, it does a couple of different things. I think, you know, it's very important to know who your target client is, whether you're selling donuts, and I think, Don, you were saying that, you know, you bought your wife, last-minute gifts at Dunkin' Donuts. You know, you need to know who is it that's your customer. So if, let's say, Dunkin' Donuts, right before the holidays, they say, hey, there are going to be people that need a couple of, you know, extra little gifts. Let's put some signs up and let's you know, cross-merchandise some things. So who's your client? And with our business, we know exactly who our client is. And so in selecting franchisees, and for franchisees to select us, it becomes a really straightforward system of working backwards from who's the client. And the thing I always say is there are really two areas that the franchisor and the prospective franchisee are trying to answer. Is there a market here? Can I make money doing it? And am I going to be any good at it? Right?
Right.
And so what we do is something called a market validation, where before we offer a franchise to somebody or ask for any commitment from them, we go to the market together with them. And we'll go and set up appointments with the architects and the builders and the designers, all the people that we do business with. And then we'll go and put presentations on as if our candidate was a franchisee.
Right.
And so we can both gauge what's the level of demand, because after we show them our glass products, we're going to ask them some very straightforward questions, like, do you have a need for decorative glass in your business, Mrs. Architect?
Mm-hmm.
And if so, how many times a month does that come up? And do you have a source in this market that you work with currently for decorative glass? And if not, if we set up a location here, will you do business with us?
Right.
And so we both get to see, is there a market? And then also, can our prospective franchisee do it? Some people can, some people can't. And so certainly to all of your listeners, I would say, I think one of the most important aspects of getting into business is know who your client is and test the waters before you go in for a real deep swim.
That's interesting.
I guess that's why you've had such success, Nick, building up the number of franchisees doing that amount of homework, investing so much time before you even see if that franchisee in that area is a right fit.
Yeah, I think so too. And I tell you, it brings up some really pretty interesting situations when you're going out all over the world, really, and meeting with all kinds of people. It's a lot of fun.
How would you describe, Nick, the SGO designer glass franchise system? You talked about kind of what you do before someone becomes a franchisee. How about the system itself?
Well, it's a really very entrepreneurial, marketing-oriented, creative group of business people. The people that are drawn to SGO are people who they enjoy working with other people. They're very professional. They usually have some sort of marketing or management, white-collar background, but their entire life they've had an artistic itch that they've always wanted to scratch. And so this allows them to really work both sides of their brain, the right side and the left side, in a business that they love, creating beautiful projects, working with amazing people throughout their community, and being known as the decorative glass source in a market.
Most of the franchisees will do a lot of, the work, the actual designing of the glass, or is that for people they hire?
Well, it's split into two areas. The designing of the glass, typically our franchisees do it with a CAD system, a computer-aided drafting system that is part of the SGO franchise. So on site, when we're talking with somebody, we can go in and design a project from really anything. We have the largest design library in the world of decorative glass designs. And so let's say that we're sitting down together to do a window in your home. And the style of your home is Frank Lloyd Wright Mission Prairie style home. We can go into that portion of our library, and there are thousands of designs in there. And then we can take a picture, a digital picture of the window in the room that you're looking to put this work into, and then we can start putting in different decorative glass designs into your actual window. So you can see what it's going to look like before anything happens. Now from there, depending on the type of glass that we're going to be using, either our studio, our franchise studio is going to make it, but not the owner, a fabricator, somebody who's, I guess you were talking before about McDonald's. I guess it would be the folks who are working at the McDonald's are the people that in our studios are making the glass.
Right.
That's not where the value is created. The value is in marketing and networking and selling the project. If it's something like traditional stained glass, then we're going to have that outsourced because there's a very high labor component in that.
Yeah, it's interesting, Nick, because, stained glass is an old concept, but what you guys are doing is you're applying 21st technology to the whole thing, It really is fascinating.
Yeah.
I saw a woman on HGTV as well, Nick, how the whole thing works, where she kind of, as you said, she comes into like an art studio, she sits down and she kind of goes through the different colors and things like that. I think she was improving her bathroom.
Yes. Yes. And, that's actually one of the areas. We do a lot of marketing on behalf of our franchisees, national marketing, and HGTV and the Learning Channel are some of our great partners in that. We place product onto shows like Curb Appeal and Kitchen Trends, Extreme Makeover, which is probably the most famous of all of those shows. Yeah, so
it's great PR for you guys.
Oh, it's amazing PR. And our franchisees, what we do is we market to the production companies that do those projects.
Right.
Then when a project comes up, it might be in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and so we'll set up our local franchisee in Tulsa with that project, and then we underwrite the cost of the project, and we both get some amazing PR out of it.
That's fantastic. Nick, are you able to stick around for another segment?
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. So I think what we'll do here is we'll take another